Howdy, 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 folks. It feels good to be back in the verse and making content again. There's been a multitude of changes to core mechanics since my last videos, from the introduction of master modes to inventory changes, looting changes to a much improved star map, even a complete overhaul on ship weapon parameters. In light of these changes, I'm going to be going back over many of my ship review videos and updating them for new and returning players alike. I felt there was no better ship to start with than my personal daily driver, the C1 Spirit. Now, with all that in mind, let's get started. Now, the C1 is a fantastic ship. I will admit that I am a bit biased. I am a Crusader fanboy, but there is a lot to like about this ship. For just about any player, boasting 64 SCU of cargo space, a functional if somewhat questionably placed tractor beam, a decent and functional habitation space, and a competent weapons package. The ship has something to offer everyone. Now, I've spent a couple of hours flying it in-game since the introduction of master modes, as well as its primary competitors, and I still feel strongly that it is the absolute best choice for a second ship for new players. And a great addition to any fleet, to be honest. Now, we'll get into those comparison numbers in a bit. Now, one of the things to note right off the bat for this ship, as you can tell as I'm walking around, is that it is quite large for its size classification. This is classified the same size as a Cutlass Black and a Freelancer. And you can tell just by looking at it, it's much larger than both of those ships. I truly do love the look and the shape of the ship. However, some hangars, specifically top entry hangars, which are more prevalent at space stations, although sometimes you get them when you're landing planet side, will clip the edges of the wings right off if you try to just blast in there to land as fast as possible. You got to learn a little bit how to finesse the ship in or out of those top entry hangars, which can be a bit of a hassle the first few times that you have to do it. And as far as negatives, that's really the most prominent one, and I've only got one other minor one about it. I mean, I can't find real flaws with the ship, just things that could be slightly improved. Now, the C1's flight characteristics are a true reflection of Crusader's design ethos. They're fluid, smooth, easy to fly. While some of the hard agility numbers for the Cutlass Black may indicate it has better maneuverability, in my opinion, they're a little misleading. I love the Cutlass Black, but the C1 just handles smoother. The importance of this really shows when navigating asteroid belts and in atmosphere. The C1 is dynamic without being jumpy, smooth without being slow. A good comparison here would be to think of the stark differences between the Cutlass Black's jumpy maneuvers and the Freelancer's plodding along kind of agility. And the C1 lies somewhere in the middle without feeling like it's sacrificing anything. The tractor beam, and you can see the tail end of the track right there, is functional, although my only gripe for the ship, other than the wings, is that the tractor beam can't quite place things fully inside the ship. And I feel like just a few more degrees of extension and it would be much more usable. Although, to be honest, like, once again, that's my second, and the second of only two complaints I have about the ship. And it still works. Like, it's not like a few other ships where, you know, you find that negative and it doesn't work at all, and it's frustrating. This first room in here, I mean, it's component access, so I mean, nothing fun necessarily, but if you see, you know, a downed C1 or A1 Spirit out there, you can gank all their stuff out. Haha, mo money. You come in and there's these doors, and then there's our nice little cargo bay. It's not huge, but it's substantial. It's got 18 more SCU than a Cutlass Black and 2 less than a Freelancer, coming in at 64. Another note, it stacks it along the side here and leaves this central walkway open, which might not sound like a big deal, and it's not really a big deal, but it's a little frustrating when you're in like a freelancer or a cutlass and your cargo bay's full and you can't walk through there particularly easily. You can't walk through the cargo bay, especially if you have other stuff in here. If you load it up, you can stack ship weapons and things like that on top of the cargo, and then moving in and out's not a problem. Just remember to put it back on the floor before you go to sell, or it might cause some problems later. You can comfortably fit ground vehicles up to a Cyclone. At one time we had a Cyclone and a Fury in this ship. I like to load 2 Furies when we're doing group bounty hunting. The only real wasted space for this ship is this middle hallway, and really it's only wasted at the moment. Once engineering gameplay comes fully online, I got a feeling these components will have a use and be much more important. And I like that while their components aren't in the bays are already there. So once the engineering gameplay is hammered out and we've got a working model, I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal from to slap a couple of pixel boxes in here and we have it ready to go, instead of like some of the other ships where it's going to be a bit of a hassle to get that stuff in because they have to redesign the ship. Now we come up here and we have, once again, it's a functional, not quite ornate, but a functional and nice habitation / bridge area. Of course, we have the mandatory bathroom with shower and toilet combo and a little sink. Let's check our mirrors. Yep, still vampires. All right. Over here, we've got 2 EVA suit lockers and a small weapons rack, which can hold 2 medium guns and 3 handheld weapons. We come over here and we've got our 2 individual, thank God, bunk / escape pod combos with, on top of them, there's individual storage. Every time I see it, the idea of a bunk that doubles as an escape pod just terrifies me. I toss and turn in my sleep. Imagine being in the bunk, you roll over, you hit a button, and then you wake up, you're in space. That'd be terrible. Now the pilot class, as you can tell, is actually really nice. You've got really good side-to-side views, a really nice upward view, almost up to a 90-degree angle from flat. The only thing you can't see is downward, but you have so much other viewable area in the glass that it's not that big of a deal. And I mean, because the side to side is so strong, if you've got someone below you, you can just roll a bit to your left or your right and you'll be able to see just fine. Now the weapons complement on here, stock, it's going to come with 4 size 3 M5A laser cannons. And I know that in all of my other videos, all I did was crap on laser cannons. In the current in-game weapons climate, I guess is the word I'll use, laser cannons are actually the superior choice. In fact, for me personally, I'm finding a lot of success running the M numerical A series of laser cannons on most of my ships. I tend to be combining 2 of those with whatever the largest ballistic Gatling or repeater is for that weapon size. I am shooting this in Arena Commander. I'm trying something new, so I don't have my actual in-game loadout loaded in. A little short on the rental credits at the moment. I gotta get some more of those. But even with just the 4 laser cannons that come on at stock, you're looking at 2000 DPS, which is not something to be ashamed of. Additionally, it comes stock with 2 size 4 missile racks, which are loaded with 2 size 3 missiles each, giving you a total of 4 size 3 missiles. Boy, that is a mouthful of math. Personally, in game, I switch those out for size 2 racks so that I can carry 8 size 2 missiles. I'm a big fan of the Rattler missiles, but that's just personal preference. And even to be honest, missiles have been kind of borked over this patch cycle so far for me. So I like seeing the Rattler split up and into multiple warheads and then chase things down. It's just really funny to me. I know. Weird things. People like weird things. A little bit about its competitors and why I think the Spirit is a better ship. They're all right around the same price. The Cutlass Black and the Freelancer are $110 US on the pledge store for standalone. This is $125. Now the Cutlass and the Freelancer do come in starter packs, although as I've said before, and I will say again, and I'll even say again in an upcoming video if you catch my drift there, there's no point to buying, if it's truly your starter package and you haven't played much, there's no point in spending $125 on the starter packs for a game you might not like, because it's not for everybody. You know, there's a sharp learning curve to this game. All that aside, I do think that the Cutlass Black is a fantastic ship. I am not personally a fan of the Freelancer. I can see its merits for some people. I think the aesthetics of the ship do not match my personal preference. There we go. That's a politically correct way to say that. Along with the flight characteristics, it flies like a tugboat. I mean, it's terrible. Cutlass Black is fairly nice on flight mechanics for its size. It used to be, I don't think they're referring to it as a medium fighter anymore, which is good, because that's very misleading, because that puts it in the same class as, you know, the F7s, which will eat the lunch of any Cutlass Black. I mean, it's not a fair comparison. The C1, on the other hand, is classified as medium freight, and I find it funny that they have the classifications for courier, freight, and cargo. Because personally, I would think, like, you hear freight, and you're like, oh, that's got to be a big ship, but not in 29, 53, 54, whatever year it is. Apparently, cargo and freight are backwards. Anyways, having 64 SCU of it, you can carry quite a bit. The Freelancer does have, as I've said, 2 SCU more, which isn't a massive change, but it adds up. It does have 18 more SCU than the Cutlass Black. I will say the Cutlass Black is a little easier to get ground vehicles in and out of, not by much, but because it doesn't have the overhang on the rear, which I'll show you right here. This little overhang can be a bit problematic when you're trying to get a Fury in here the first few times. Once you've done it a couple times, it's like anything else. It's second nature. It's easy to do. But having that overhang just kind of limits it a little more. And the lips coming up right here, I don't know what else to call that. Also kind of can make even getting the Cyclone a bit of a hassle. You've got to really line it up well before you shoot in. It's not as bad as the old Freelancer, although I haven't flown a Freelancer maybe like 10 minutes of this patch cycle. But anyways, the Freelancer supposedly is a little bit less of a hassle to get stuff in and out of now that apparently they redid the the rear turret that was hanging down, and it's not as in the way, so you might be able to fit different Cyclones in there. We'll find out soon, I'm sure. I've got some work coming up for Freelancer videos, which is going to be just adorable. I love it. But for this ship, you know, getting a Cyclone, any of the Cyclones in here is not problematic at all. There's enough clearance above to get even the armed Cyclones in. I like the MT Cyclone personally is my favorite. Good balance of weapon choices, and all the Cyclones handle the same, so why not go that route? But getting that in here is no problem at all. It loads in, you can drive it straight up to here, and you still have space to fit a Fury in the back. A small thing that I do like, and I did mention it earlier, is you have a bulkhead door here, which means you can land on a planet and just have a little bit more security that someone's not going to steal your ship. if you close both doors. You know, you close this up, close up the ramp, and the odds of someone getting into your ship while they're still decent, it's going to slow them down just a little bit longer. And every second helps, because if you're paying attention, hopefully you'll hear somebody out there shooting the back of your ship to get the door to open. So this has been Heimdall's re-review of the C1 Spirit. If you like what I'm doing, hit that like button, tap subscribe, click the bell icon, all that stuff. This is my first video in like over 6 months. It's been a long year so far. Sorry for the wait. Hopefully, well, not even hopefully, I know for a fact I don't have as much going on now. Should be able to start pumping some out again. For the folks that stuck around, I really appreciate it. For people coming along for the first time, hey, hope you enjoyed it. I have a partner in crime that I'm collaborating with and getting some things started up with. We're just figuring out some technical aspects so that these videos will be a little bit more cinematic for you guys, a little less me standing here talking, and a little more action shots. I'd like to build the channel up a bit enough where I can find me a real editor to put some stuff together. At the same time, I want to make sure that I'm giving you guys not just accurate information, but in these videos I want you to see me doing stuff. I don't want to show you screen grabs, and there's nothing wrong with other people's channels. It's their business how they do stuff. That's great. But me personally, when you're looking at something on here, I want it to be something that me or one of the people involved in the video's creation are doing. I don't want to be showing you screen grabs from other channels. I don't want to be showing you screen grabs from CIG promotional material. I want you to see actual gameplay. That way, if you're using my videos as a way to determine a purchase, either in game or in real life, especially in real life, because I don't know if you've seen the economy, it ain't great, but you're having accurate information. I don't want somebody to see my video and me be using some promotional material of a freelancer that makes it look like it can circle like a Fury and punch like a Constellation. That's just not realistic. And yeah, anyways, all that aside, sorry for rambling. I did not fully script this video. I wanted to get something out. I miss you guys. Let me know in the comments what you think. If you've got any recommendations for any of my videos to redo, leave it in the comments. I do my best to read and respond to all my comments, and I really enjoy the engagement quite a bit. There's been some interesting debates. Be friendly to each other. There's no point in getting mad. Either way, thanks for watching. This has been Eyes of Heimdall's re-review of the C1 Spirit, and I look forward to seeing you all out there in the verse.